Tired of the spin? Sick of the noise? BS with Joe. Cutting through the show, truth bombs drop. Now everybody knows. Red, white, blue, but never just one view. It's the real, raw take, straight to you. This is BS with Joe. Let's get into it.
There's your info for this one.
Oh, great. This is the
I didn't give you the one on Brexit, but here's Wexit.
Wexit. All right, so this is BS with Joe. We're going to talk about Wexit.
We are.
Wexit is the separation of the West and Canada, Alberta and
There's a
Saskatchewan.
there's a quiet storm brewing up north.
Oh, it's been brewing for a while. I think it's been brewing since the
But
truckers.
it's not from Quebec this time. It's from Alberta and Saskatchewan.
Oh yeah. It goes back to what we've kind of been talking about on a few videos where, Alberta is producing so much wealth that's what's supporting Quebec.
Right. So Ottawa writes the checks. The Eastern Canadians cash the checks. And it's paid for by the West.
Yeah. The West has the lowest population. They're the hardest working population out of Canada.
Right.
That's where all the oil comes from, timber, other things. That all comes from the West of Canada.
A lot of the agriculture comes from the West, too.
Yes. The eastern part of Canada doesn't really produce very much.
No.
A couple of hockey teams?
Not even good hockey teams, but that's...
No.
But
And Trudeau?
could Canada really break apart? Or is it just this political jockeying?
Well, Canada is very unique. I was watching a couple of podcasts talking about Wexit, and Canada, their laws allow them to do several things with the different provinces. So the different provinces can almost act like their own individual country.
To a point.
To a point.
Like, for example, this pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
The British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and Alberta all got together and they agreed to build a pipeline that would open up more trade with the United States.
Mm-hmm.
The United States is on board too. Montana and Wyoming were like, heck yeah.
Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah. Problem is, they got it together. They got the funding. They're ready to roll. And Ottawa said, nope, you can't do that. Because they say they get final approval on everything.
Yeah.
And the reason that they said no is because the Ottawa or Canadian government is following the UN doctrine of going green and trying to move away from fossil fuel.
In that case, stop producing oil. Well, there goes...
That's why they don't want to invest in oil structures, oil infrastructure.
I think the reason why they don't want to invest in the oil infrastructure is because they want to control the price or the taxes on that oil or that good. You know, you look at the Canadian truckers; they truck that all through.
Yeah.
You know, their jobs would be they would be out of business if that pipeline went in.
Yeah. I mean, this has been going on since 2019, though. There was some.
Oh yeah.
The elections in 2019 is when the Liberals took over in Ottawa, and the West has really always been conservative. Between Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia, they've always been pretty conservative. British Columbia being the most liberal of the three.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing is, it all depends on the next generation of Alberta people being born in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and the western part of Canada. If they choose to work hard and yet continue to provide everything for the East, then nothing's going to change. And a lot of them don't want to have too much change. The only problem is 1 out of 4 individuals can probably afford a home in Canada. You look at the prices of homes in Canada, even if you are working and you worked in the oil field, you probably wouldn't be able to afford to buy a house there.
Yeah, I mean, my belief that this whole Wexit thing isn't really so much about leaving; it's about being heard.
I don't think it's about being heard. I think it's about being able to survive. When people don't speak out or have these protests, unless they're severely hurt,
True.
and when they're hurt that bad, they're hurting bad, they're going to lash out.
The polls in Alberta only show about a third of the people want to leave Canada.
Yeah. They don't want to leave. They want things to be cheaper. They want affordable homes.
Right.
They want affordable food. They want to have...
They're still loyal to Canada. They don't want...
Oh, yeah. Which
They
I
don't
don't
want-
understand. I mean,
Well, Alberta is the Texas of Canada.
Yes. It is the Texas of Canada.
Yeah.
Ottawa's the New York of
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah.
It's one of those kind of things that yes, they could vote to leave and all that other stuff, but Ottawa's not going to let them. So they're not going to divide. Ottawa will not ever let that happen because Alberta's their cash cow. Without Alberta and Saskatchewan, Canada's not Canada.
So the Prime Minister of Alberta, I can't remember her name off the top of my head right now, but she was elected in based on her campaign promises of Wexit. So she's got a whole lot of people that funded her and are still funding her political career that want to leave Canada.
Well, from what I understand, like the signatures, she reduced the signature threshold.
She did.
But she also, I think she added more questions for that. So they have to answer a certain question with the exit or the Wexit.
Basically, my point is she's on a fence right now, and she's trying to keep both sides as happy as she can.
Yes.
But, I mean, holding meetings with the Saskatchewan and British Columbia leaders and literally telling Ottawa, okay, we're ready to leave, I mean, that's pretty bold.
It is very bold. Because...
What is it, October is when the referendum gets voted on?
Yes. I believe
We'll
so.
see what happens.
We'll see what happens. My one of the things I want to think about on this is, okay, so let's say Alberta, Saskatchewan leaves from the rest of Canada. The other parts of Canada would not be able to survive without Alberta and Saskatchewan.
Well, that brings up an interesting point. If you look back, I don't remember when it was, but there was a time when Quebec wanted sovereignty. And they pushed really hard for it, but the reason that it didn't happen is because they knew that without the remainder of Canada, they would not survive.
Yeah, without Alberta.
Because they didn't have the economy.
Right. And that's their own fault.
Right.
You know, you gotta...
But in this particular case, Alberta is the cash cow of the country.
Oh, it is. It's very much the cash cow of the country.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem. Now, here's the thing. Do you really have power if you don't have any way of surviving without other members?
That's really where the rub is, isn't it? Because Ottawa is saying that they control the country. But
are they really in control if they
Exactly.
can't survive without them?
Exactly. That's a very good point.
So here's the thing: is if Alberta and Saskatchewan do succeed or choose to succeed, Ottawa's going to tell them no.
Right.
And
They've already said they will.
right,
And they're finding every legal possible way that they can to block it.
well, it's going to come down to is either they separate or they don't.
Right.
If they don't, Alberta's still going to be Ottawa's slave. That's what it comes down to.
That's what I'm saying is the point of this whole Wexit movement is to get Ottawa to realize what they're doing and realize that Alberta and Saskatchewan are done being underrepresented.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing is, you look at the majority of the population lives in the eastern part of Canada.
Right.
The western part, Alberta and Saskatchewan, there's very few people that live there, but they're producing all the goods for Canada.
Right.
And you get all these people living off of the fat of the land, which is Alberta and Saskatchewan.
And British Columbia.
And British Columbia. And what I see that happens, if they do separate, they're going to war.
Well, that's highly possible. One of the things that Ottawa has done, which is really scary, is they have been not so quietly making more and more firearms illegal to own.
Yes, because they got to control the people.
And they've had the RCMP going door to door to collect these firearms.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells me that Ottawa's getting ready for a civil war.
Oh, yeah.
Because the only reason to disarm your people is because you want to rule without any.
Well, and here's the thing
competition.
is the people in Ottawa and Eastern Canada, they'll either move to the West for work or survival, or even the U.S. They'll move south to the U.S. They'll leave Ottawa.
The thing that's interesting about Canadians to me is, like, in the United States, we'll move around between states, and we don't really have, most people don't have a whole lot of loyalty to that state.
No.
Except for Texas.
Well, they're a whole nother breed.
Yeah. Now, in Canada, however, the Newfoundlanders
Mm-hmm.
have a severe loyalty to Newfoundland.
Mm-hmm.
People that live in Quebec are very loyal to Quebec, and they speak French for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
The people that live in Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia, they're all very loyal to their province, almost more than their country.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying is they'll be forced to leave because the fact that they wouldn't be able to survive.
Right.
It'll be like Russia because Quebec is very communist. Because they have no GDP. So if they don't have any GDP, it all comes from Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia. And so that's how they survive.
Right.
And that's why their population's increased because they've learned how to survive off of Alberta and Saskatchewan.
Quebec has to have some kind of GDP.
They do, but it's like writing and, colleges and medical, because the thing is when you have a large population, you need to have medical doctors, you need all this other stuff.
I think I saw a statistic recently showing that the entire Canadian GDP is down like 4% over the last
Oh, it
2
is?
years.
Well, you also got to look at it this way. There's a lot of people immigrating to Canada.
From where?
From all over the world.
Okay.
You got people that move from Haiti to Canada.
And there's the Islamic as well.
Yeah. And the Quebec wants them to come over because that's a population, that's a vote, that gives them power.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
It gives them seats just like Texas in gerrymandering.
Yeah.
And so they have to have this population come in, and what are they doing? They're giving them money, they're giving them a way to live, a way to survive. Now, if their GDP drops out completely because Saskatchewan and Alberta leave, they won't be able to afford to, they're going to give them money, they'll print more money, but that money is going to have no value.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's I think the number is actually about 36% of Albertans support independence.
And that's going to continue if Alberta and Saskatchewan and British Columbia stay with Canada. The money printing and the immigration is going to continue because that's the only way they have power.
Right.
Because they don't produce anything.
And I believe that the way the representation is done with the Canadian government is based on population.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that the East, which has all the population, gets far more power in the government and representation.
Yep.
Which is where this really all comes down to. They want representation in the West.
Yeah, and the West will not ever get representation unless they import individuals for votes, for population size, or
They don't want to do that. They don't want to.
nope. And they don't want to
They
succeed.
like what the way they are.
I think what all Alberta and Saskatchewan and British Columbia want to do is scream and yell and kick and cry, and not do anything about it.
I mean, I think that it would be great if all three of them joined the United States.
It would be great. It would be great for our GDP, and they would get a lot of their freedoms installed back to their country.
And it wouldn't take very long for Newfoundland and Quebec to be joining them because they wouldn't be able to support themselves.
No.
That would be the end of Canada.
It would be the end of Canada. But, it's... I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think they're just going to cry, and...
So it's all posturing.
It's all posturing. And the leaders know it's going to be posturing, and Ottawa's going to give them some crumbs, give them something to keep them from crying, and they're going to continue being the slaves for Ottawa.
You may very well be right.
I'm calling it the way I see it.
Okay.
Now, it may piss off a lot of Canadians, Albertans, and Saskatchewans, and whatever.
Well, like I said, only 36% of them support separation.
Yep.
So it's 1 in 5, basically.
Mm-hmm. And I've talked to guests from Ottawa. They are far leftist. They do not like Trump. They want socialism, and that's part of the reason why they live there.
Yeah.
Even though they had the trucker rallies for whatever they wanted,
Socialism doesn't work.
no, and they're clearly in socialist. It's a socialist country because you donated to the trucker rally, and if you were a Canadian, your accounts were froze.
Right.
You had no You have no freedom.
Well, they're still loyal to the crown.
Yeah. And part of the reason why we have this podcast is because we feel like we were losing our country. We've taken a little bit of it back with Trump and a few of his policies, and that's why we have this podcast, because we're trying to fight against it.
We both felt like we were underrepresented.
And I part of me still believes we are.
I fully agree. I mean, I think that the government currently is headed in the right direction.
It is heading in the right direction.
There's a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do, and we got to keep working. We got to keep fighting. And Trump, this is one thing I got to give Trump credit for. He sees what's going on in the U.S., but he knows as a president of the United States, there's not a lot he could do here. He could set it up for other individuals to work hard and get their representation in. That's what's going on in Texas. It's what's going on here in Florida. That's what's going on in a lot of the country. Mm-hmm. And you look at the people he put into power as influence with Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, RFK Jr. Now, some of them have kind of dropped the ball like Pam Bondi, but I don't honestly believe it's all her fault.
It's not.
I think she was given a lot of this, and she trusted the intel that was given to her from her cabinet, and they scuttled it.
Yeah,
and that's what's happening with the Epstein thing.
Well, Congress actually did vote on whether to release that or not.
Yeah,
and they voted no.
They voted no. Now, but yeah, that's it for Wexit that I have.
That's all I got.
Like, share,
we'll see what happens.
Subscribe, leave a comment. Yeah, we're going to see what happens with Wexit. Yeah. I think it's just going to be,
if they want to wave the red, white, and blue, come on down.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, anyone from any other country, not just Canada, any country, and you want to migrate here to the U.S., it's going to get a lot more expensive.
I'm not saying they should migrate down here. We just annex.
Well, yeah, but you look at the
they would be a lot stronger if they joined us rather than being independent. Is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying about people that live in Alberta. The loggers, the oil field workers. If you want freedoms, try to become a citizen here in the U.S. Do it legally.
They don't want to leave Alberta.
I know they don't.
So Alberta has to come down.
Yes. But if the mountain doesn't come to Muhammad's got to go to the mountain, is what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't
Only,
see that
only
happening.
so many Albertans can move to Montana.
Well, yeah, but they
And
can
Montana doesn't have the GDP either, so.
No. But that's the thing is individuals who want to work and work hard, they'll create GDP.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it comes down to.
There's a lot of times when the Albertans move to the United States, they move to Montana, Wyoming, Colorado.
Oh God,
Idaho.
Colorado.
That's it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
All right.
Maybe the Dakotas a little bit, but they want to be up there. They want to be.
They won't be in their and I get it. That's probably where your generations of your family have lived.
Yeah.
And if you got native blood there, it's hard to leave.
It is.
But with that, that's it. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment.
Please do.